A US president just publicly warned that an entire civilization could be wiped out in a single night, not in a classified briefing, not behind closed doors, but on social media. This is the story of Donald J. Trump's Truth Social posts during the Iran war and why experts say they may signal one of the most dangerous escalations in modern history. Since the start of the 2026 Iran conflict, Trump has used Truth Social as his primary communication channel. No press conferences, no diplomatic filters, just direct, unfiltered messages to the world and to Iran. At first, the tone looked familiar. Warnings of overwhelming force, claims that Iran was pushing too far, promises that the United States would respond decisively. But then, something changed. As the weeks went on, the rhetoric escalated. Trump began issuing direct ultimatums: reopen key shipping routes, comply immediately with US demands, or face consequences. And then came the statement that changed everything. A whole civilization will die tonight. That single line reframed the entire conflict, because this wasn't just a threat of military action. It sounded like the threat of total collapse. To understand why this matters, we need to break down what's actually being said here. First, this is no longer limited war language. Traditionally, even during major conflicts, leaders frame strikes as targeted, proportional, strategic. But this kind of wording, suggests something much bigger. Not just defeating an enemy, but dismantling a society. Second, look at the targets being discussed. Power plants, bridges, infrastructure systems. These aren't just military assets. They're the foundation of civilian life. Electricity, transportation, water systems. When those go down, the effects spread far beyond the battlefield. That's why legal experts immediately raised concerns about potential violations of international law. Third, this is happening in public. Historically, the most serious threats between nations happen privately: back-channel negotiations, secret warnings, quiet diplomacy. But here, everything is being broadcast in real time. That changes the game, because now Iran has to respond publicly. Allies are forced to react instantly, and global markets move on every post. So, what does this actually mean for the world? There are a few possible interpretations. 1. This is coercive negotiation. Use extreme language to force a quick surrender or compliance. 2. Psychological warfare. Break morale, both for leadership and civilians, before physical escalation. 3. Preparation. Condition the public for a massive military action that might already be planned. And here's the problem. No one knows which one it is. That uncertainty is where the real danger lies, because in situations like this, miscalculation becomes far more likely. If Iran believes this is a bluff, they might resist. If they believe it's real, they might strike first, and either way, escalation becomes harder to stop. There's also the economic side. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical shipping routes in the world. Any disruption there affects oil prices, global trade, energy security. So even without full-scale war, the impact is already global. But there's something deeper happening here. This isn't just about military strategy. It's about how power is communicated. In the past, leaders relied on carefully worded statements, diplomatic channels controlled messaging. Now, a single post can move markets, trigger military alerts, shift global perception instantly. And that brings us back to that phrase: a whole civilization will die tonight. Whether it was meant literally, strategically, or rhetorically, it crosses a line, because it introduces the idea of civilizational destruction into mainstream political communication. And once that line is crossed, it's very hard to go back. So, the real question isn't just what Trump said, it's what happens next. Do these statements force a resolution, Or do they push both sides closer to a point where backing down becomes impossible? Because history shows us something very clearly. Wars don't just start with weapons, they start with words. And right now, the words are getting louder. If you want deeper breakdowns of global conflicts and real-time analysis, subscribe, because this story is still unfolding.